Helmets on for safety. Welcome back to Random. And today, before we get started with today's episode, just a little bit of housekeeping. I want to say thank you to all the recent subscribers to the channel. Myself and my editor appreciate you guys joining us for the journey here on YouTube. And I also want to give a special thank you to everybody that watched our most recent episode. Thank you. It helps out a great deal. We had over 1,000 views on that one episode. Myself and my editor are looking forward to keeping that particular momentum going. So please like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos as often as possible. It helps build the channel, and tell us what we're doing right, tell us what we're doing wrong, give us ideas on what we should do for content, and my editor will force me to do them. So today's episode is all about the idea of, can two objects of same mass and same size share the same area or the same space at the same time? Now, our current understanding of physics says this is theoretically possible in two ways, but before we do that, we have to go over a little bit of high school chemistry and physics and remind you that atoms are between 90 and 99% empty space. So from the core of the from the surface of the nucleus, I should say, to the innermost electron shell, there's quite a bit of space, okay? Now, how can something be solid and have 99% space between atom and atom? Well, there's a couple of different theories, some of which are currently under testing and evaluation, and whether or not they're actually true or not, and some that are a little out there, but we're going to go over a couple of them now. So when I press my finger to this post, it stops at the surface. One idea and one theory being that there is the electromotive or the electromagnetic response and repulsion from atom to atom, from the atoms in the post to the atoms in my finger, and that's what prevents my finger from phasing through the post. Another potential theory, which is one we're going to be talking about for this episode, is something called quantum resonance dynamic, and that is the idea that all matter in the universe resonates at a particular frequency, and matter that has the same frequency can't phase into matter of the same frequency. Okay, so my finger resonates at the same frequency as the post, therefore my finger can't phase into the post. Now, quantum dynamic theory, or quantum resonance dynamic, I should say, helps kind of explain that just a little bit, okay? Where both atoms, both masses vibrate at the same frequency, preventing one another from phasing into each other. But what if you could change your quantum resonance frequency by a little bit? Like, let's say you wanted to park a car in this parking space right here, and somebody else had already parked here. Well, if another car comes in at a different quantum resonance, it could phase into the first car and leave the first car completely unharmed in every way, shape, and form. And of course, the second car would also be completely unharmed, completely unfazed or damaged by driving into the first car. Now, there's a few big issues with that. We'll have to get a little bit later. We'll have to get into that just a little bit later. But let's carry on. So you're able to change the quantum frequency of your matter, of your vehicle, to phase through the first car. Well, after the first car moves out of the parking lot, your car would still be in the parking space, completely unharmed, completely unchanged. And then another car, we'll call that car C, comes in and parks where your car is parked while it's still in phase, or I should say out of phase, with the quantum resonance of everything around it. So car A leaves, your car is still in the parking spot, car C approaches and parks here. Now you have a completely different car in your parking spot along with your vehicle. And since your car is out of phase with the quantum resonance of the universe, your car would be completely unharmed, completely unfazed. So you would get into your car, you would drive it out, car C is still in place, and you would shift your car from the quantum resonance that it was at back to the quantum resonance of everything around it, and you would carry on. Now, another theory about how a vehicle or a mass could occupy the same space at the same time, in quotes, would be temporal or chronal resonance. Now, this was kind of described a little bit in the Star Trek The Next Generation episode where Mr. Data explodes and is sent backwards in time to the 1800s in San Francisco. And during the episode, they have to figure out how he did that and how to follow him there. And of course, the idea being that they set up these pattern enhancers to reduce or change their chronal frequency so they can see what's around them and interact with it. So chronal frequency, that is the idea that everything exists in space-time at the same duration, okay? So that tree right now exists in the same time and space as me. Well, in 50 years or so, it may not be there. That's a bit of an extreme example, but it fits. So for all intents and purposes, after a certain duration of time, this tree may or may not be here, but if I were to put my hand through it, it would be not there. It would be gone, right? Well, let's say we take that tree out of chronal resonance by a few fractions of a second. Again, it would behave as if that tree or my hand were at a different resonance. So my matter would phase through that tree and it would be completely unharmed. It would be completely undisturbed in every way, shape, and form, aside from either me, myself, or the tree being at different durations. A little bit complex and a little convoluted. My editor unfortunately didn't give me notes on this episode because he's a lazy bum. I'm gonna have a little talk with him about that. Anyway, like I said, there's a couple of big problems when you're dealing with quantum or chronal resonance. A few of which being, do they actually exist? Can we measure it? Can we control it? Can we observe it? Currently, our understanding of physics says maybe. Unfortunately, we don't have the technology to really discern whether or not that's true at the moment. It's the same thing with the chronal resonance. We don't really have a great enough understanding of what that is or why it is and how to observe it, how to control it, how to manipulate it, so we wouldn't be able to do it currently. But that's not to say that we won't be able to, it's just that we can't do it now. So the energy you would need to do, or need to have access to affect either your quantum resonance or your chronal resonance is incalculable. Primarily because we haven't observed either of those phenomenon yet. We don't have the technology, we don't have the experience, we don't have the math to do it. So we don't know how much energy it takes. That's problem number one. Problem number two, if you're able to change your quantum resonance frequency from what it currently is to something else, you still have weight, you still have mass, and you still are affected by gravity. That means if you change your quantum resonance and can suddenly phase through matter, your feet will phase through the ground and you will fall to the center of the earth. Bad things. So you would have to be able to not only adapt and counter and compensate for that particular effect, you would have to basically turn your gravity or alter it to where 1G, which is what we're all currently standing on right now, basically that wouldn't affect you. You would have, I don't know, let's say 0.98 G. So for all intents and purposes, your feet, while phased, would be hovering off the ground. You would basically be floating, and you would be phasing through matter, like a ghost. if such things exist. Well, it's the same thing with coronal or temporal resonance. If you exist at a different time relative to everything else in your universe or in your surrounding area, and you're able to phase through matter, gravity still affects you, and you would have the exact same problem. Again, a little convoluted. It's a little bit beyond my expertise and my ability to explain at present anyway, but still. Now, I'm sure that by now my editor has probably put any number of comments and snide remarks about my ability to talk about these things, and he's right. Speaking of things he's right about, I forgot to mention, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. If you enjoy beer, cold drinks, and groovy tunes, check out Beer and Song of the Day. The link to their channel will be in the description down below. And I'm sure he'll also reference the different Star Trek The Next Generation episodes where we talk a little bit about coronal resonance or temporal resonance and the quantum resonance phasing. Remember that one episode where Commander Riker has to go back to one of his old ships, the Pegasus, with the phasing cloak that would allow a ship to not only become invisible but phase through solid objects? That's another example of quantum resonance changing. So I hope you learned something today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and share the video. It helps build this channel, it helps the algorithm, and like I said, it helps me and my editor know what we're doing and know how we can better entertain and provide content for you guys. So that's it for today, and as always, keep it random.